Namaste. We have now come to the part 5, the concluding part on this essence of Srimad Bhagavad Gita, where we will cover chapter 15 to chapter 18. Let us begin with gist of chapter 15, the Yoga of Supreme Spirit, the Purushottama Yoga, which consists of 20 verses. This discourse is entitled Purushottam Yoga or the Yoga of Supreme Person. Here Lord Krishna tells us about the ultimate source of this invisible phenomenal universe from which all things have come into being. Just like a great tree with all its roots, trunks, branches, twigs, leaves, flowers and fruits which spring forth from the earth, which itself supports the tree and in which it is rooted. Shri Krishna declares that the Supreme Being is the source of all existence, and refers allegorically to this universe as being like an inverted tree whose roots are in Parabrahman and whose spreading branches and foliage constitute all the things and factors that go to make up this creation of variegated phenomena. This is a very mysterious tree, which is very difficult to understand, being a product of his inscrutable power of Maya and hence a marvelous apparent appearance without having actual reality. One who fully understands the nature of this sansara tree goes beyond Maya. To be attached to it is to be caught in it. The surest way of transcending this sansara or worldly life is by wielding the excellent weapon of dispassion and non-attachment. In verses 4 and 5 of this discourse, the Lord tells us how one goes beyond this visible sansara and attains the supreme imperishable status, attaining which one does not have to return to this mortal world of pain and death. Lord Krishna also describes for us the wonderful mystery of His presence in this universe and the supreme place He occupies in sustaining everything here. The Lord declares that it is a part of Himself that manifests here as the individual soul in each body. He Himself is the indwelling oversoul beyond the self. He is the effulgence inherent in the sun, moon and fire. He is present as the nourishing element in the earth. He is the inner witness of all beings. He is the supreme knower even beyond Vedic knowledge. He is the resplendent person who is beyond both this perishable phenomenal creation as well as the imperishable individual soul, which is a part of His eternal essence. Thus, because He is beyond perishable matter and superior to the imperishable soul, enveloped in Maya, He is known in this world as well as in the Vedas as Supreme Person. We conclude here chapter 15. Now we will start with the chapter 16, the Yoga of division between divine and the demonical. Daivasura Sampada Vibhaga Yoga. This discourse is important and very instructive to all persons who wish to attain happiness, prosperity and blessedness, and to seekers in particular who wish to attain success in their spiritual life. Lord Krishna brings out quite clearly and unmistakably here the intimate connection between ethics and spirituality, between a life of virtue and God realization and liberation. Listing two sets of qualities of opposite kinds, the Lord classifies them as divine and demonical undivine, and urges us to eradicate the latter, that is demonical qualities, and cultivate the divine qualities. What kind of nature should one develop? What conduct must one follow? What way should one live and act if one must attain God and obtain divine bliss? These questions are answered with perfect clarity and very definitively. The pure divine qualities are conducive to peace and liberation, and the undivine qualities lead to bondage. Purity, good conduct, and truth are indispensable to spiritual progress and even to an honorable life here. Devoid of purity, good conduct, and truth, and having no faith in God or higher reality beyond this visible world, man degenerates into a two-legged beast of ugly character and cruel actions and sinks into darkness. Such a person becomes his own enemy and the destroyer of the happiness of others as well as his own. Caught in countless desires and cravings, a slave of sensual enjoyments and beset by 1,000 cares, his life ultimately ends in misery and degradation. Haughtiness, arrogance, and egoism lead to this dire fate. Therefore, a wise person desiring success must eradicate vice and cultivate virtue. In this world, 3 gates lead to hell, the gates of passion, anger, and greed. Released from these 3 qualities, one can succeed in attaining salvation and reaching the highest goal, namely God. Thus, the sacred scriptures teach wisely the right path of pure, virtuous living. One should therefore follow the injunctions of the sacred scriptures that wish his welfare and be guided in his actions by their noble teachings. Here we conclude this chapter 16. We commence with the gist of chapter 17. The yoga of division of the threefold faith. Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga. It consists of 28 verses. This discourse is termed the yoga of division of the 3 kinds of faith. The theme of this discourse arises out of the question asked by Arjun in verse 1 with reference to the final and closing advice of Lord Krishna in the previous discourse contained in the last 2 verses therein, that is verses 23 and 24. Arjun asks, what about those who, even though setting aside scriptural injunctions, that is restrictions or warnings, that is caution, yet perform worship with faith? The Lord replies and states that the faith of such men who ignore the injunctions of the scripture could be either sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic. This would be in accordance with the basic nature of the person himself, and conversely, as is the kind of faith, so develops the nature of the man. Thus, in all things like sacrifice, worship, clarity, penance, etc., these qualities become expressed in accordance with the kind of faith in which the person concerned is based. They produce results in accordance with the quality of the doer's faith. These acts done with right faith lead to supreme blessedness. When done with any faith whatsoever, all these actions become barren and useless. Here we conclude this chapter 17. This is the last chapter, the Yoga of Liberation by Renunciation, chapter 18. The 18th discourse, which is the conclusion of the divine discourse of Lord Krishna, is in many ways a summary of the foregoing portions of the Gita. It covers in brief numerous important points dealt with in the previous discourses. Here you behold the ultimate result or effect of the Lord's discourse to Arjuna. The drama of Arjuna's utter despondency and breakdown is finally resolved in triumphant self-mastery, strength, and bold resoluteness. Its central message emerges as an assurance that in and through the performance of one's respective duties in life, one can qualify for the highest liberation if one performs actions by renouncing egoism and attachment and surrendering all desire for selfish personal gain. By regarding the performance of your duties as worship offered to God, you obtain the grace of the Lord and attain the Eternal One. Significantly, This discourse opens with a question by Arjun asking, what is true sannyas and the true tyaga renunciation? In reply to this important and crucial query, the Blessed Lord makes it clear to us that real sannyas or renunciation lies in real renunciation of selfish actions, and even more in the renunciation of the desire or greed for the fruits of any action. Very clearly, we are told that selfless and virtuous actions and actions conducive to the welfare of others should not be abandoned. You must engage yourself in performing such actions but renouncing attachment and greed. The true and proper renunciation is giving up of selfishness and attachment while performing one's legitimate duties. This is called Sattvic Tyagam. We neither hate unpleasant action nor are we attached to pleasurable action. As it is not possible for you to renounce all actions, the renunciation of egoism, selfishness and attachment in your activity is cleared as a true renunciation. Karma does not accumulate and bind one who is thus established in such inner renunciation. The divine injunction is that God must be made the sole object of one's life. This is the heart of Gita Gospel. This is the central message in its teaching. This is the one way to your welfare here. Now, Sanjaya concludes his narrative by declaring that where there is such obedience as that of Arjun and such willing readiness to carry out the divine teachings, there surely prosperity, victory, glory and all blessedness will prevail. Here we conclude chapter 18 and the essence of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Thank you for listening. Please do visit the channel and playlist for exploring the other topics on spirituality.